Hello everyone, welcome to Dr. Obi's garden. The long-awaited video on the whole process of multiplying a pineapple crown from the start to harvesting your first pineapple fruit is finally here. Yes indeed, you can get multiple pineapple fruits from a single pineapple top, and in this video I'm going to show you the entire process from the time you split the crown to planting the baby pineapples or plantlets to literally harvesting and enjoying the first fruit of your labor. I'll share important tips throughout the video to guarantee success, and you also know how long the process takes so you can decide for yourself if this is for you or not. Without wasting any more time, let's get rolling. After getting the pineapple fruit, you need to take off the top by just snapping it off or cutting it with a knife. Pineapples with bigger crowns work the best for this. Remove all the short leaves at the base since they will not be useful for this purpose. If you snap off the pineapple top, be sure to trim off any fruit pieces attached to the bottom, which can serve as entry point for pathogens. Let the crown cure for a couple of days in a cool, dry place before use. By the next day, the bottom of the crown would have dried as seen in your shot. It's now ready for splitting. Using a sharp knife, cut the pineapple top into 4 or more equal parts, depending on the size as shown. You need to be careful with the knife so you don't cut your fingers. Once you are done with splitting, here comes another important step. This is the removal of the apical dominant. This activates the dormant buds to start growing. It is achieved by simply cutting a small piece of tissue close to the middle leaves and discarding it along with some of the innermost leaves. It should be done for all the pineapple sections. Once this is completed, the crown sections are ready to be planted in the substrate. You can dip the bottom of the crown sections into a fungicide solution before planting the substrate, but in most cases it will work without this step. Prepare the substrates by mixing sawdust with sand in a 1:1 or 50-50 ratio. You can use builder's sand or even regular well-draining soil in place of the river sand. Mix thoroughly and transfer into a wide mouth container that is at least 4 inches high with holes created at the bottom for drainage. Water thoroughly and let the excess water drain out. Plant the crown sections by pushing them into the sand just deep enough to cover the thicker portions and a little bit of the leaves. Space them about 4 inches or more apart. Water sparingly after all the sections have been planted. You can keep the setup in a sunny or partially shaded location for the entire growth period. The next day or two, you can water again with nutrient solution. This is not an absolute requirement, but I find that it stimulates root development and promotes better growth of the plantlets. Thereafter, you have to monitor periodically and water them only when the surface is dry using ordinary water. Within a month, you will see some of the buds sprouting and growing bigger in between the leaf axils. You don't really have to do anything special when you observe this, other than probably jumping with excitement at your first sign of success. Keep taking care of the plants by removing weeds and watering as and when necessary. After about 2 months following sprouting of the buds, or approximately 3 months after splitting the crowns, the buds would have developed into big plantlets and will be ready to be harvested. Harvest by holding the crown sections with one hand and twisting the plantlets gently with the other hand before pulling the plantlet out. This method ensures that the crown section maintains the potential to regrow another plantlet. So far, you've been able to get 4 new plantlets from a single crown. This is worth celebrating. Note that some of the plantlets will have roots, whereas others may not have any roots, but they will all do well when transplanted. After harvesting, the plantlets will go through 2 transplanting steps. For the first transplant, fill 500 ml planting bags or cups with top garden soil and water thoroughly. The bags or cups should have holes created at the bottom to drain off excess water. Make holes in the soil deep enough to cover the roots and about an inch of the bottom of the plantlets. Keep the plants in a partially shaded area for another month, watering as and when necessary. After about 1 month, the plantlet would have grown a little bit bigger with more roots. You can perform the second transplanting step at this stage. If you allow the plantlets to grow on the mother plant for about 4 months, you can actually skip the first transplanting step by transplanting directly into the bigger container. Fill bigger containers with topsoil. I use 15-liter buckets with holes created at the bottom for draining, but you can use bigger containers if available. Note that if the container is too big, you will need more soil to fill it. While filling the soil, you can mix in some grass clippings or weeds to provide additional nutrients for the plants. When the containers have been filled, water the plantlets to make it easy to transplant. You can either transplant with the entire soil in a bag or just pull out the plantlets and plant them in the holes created in the soil. Note that bigger plantlets with more roots will grow faster than smaller plantlets with fewer roots. The 2 plants on the left are bigger than the 2 plants on the right. Let's keep an eye on them to see how they grow. Water the plants well and keep them in a sunny location for the rest of their growth. Within the next 3 months, the plants would have grown appreciably. You can see a clear distinction between the plants on the left compared to those on the right. Those on the left are bigger, just as expected. You can mix in a couple handfuls of complete fertilizer or compost at this stage to promote a healthy growth. The fertilizer application can be repeated after another 2 months. Notice that I switched the position of the plants, with the 2 bigger plants now moved to the right. It's been just 5 months after the second transplant, but already 9 months after splitting the pineapple crown. They are growing so fast. Take care of the plants by watering and removing weeds as and when necessary. Watering should only be done when the soil surface is dry. Within the next 7 months after the second fertilizer application, or a total of 16 months after splitting the crown, some of the plants would have started flowering. This called for another celebration. Notice that only the 2 plants which were bigger at the start had initiated flowering. The other 2 on the left are yet to flower. You can spray with potassium nitrate at this stage to promote fruit development. After another 3 months, for a total of 19 months, the first fruit of your labor will be ready for harvesting. I covered the fruit with dry grass and weeds to protect it against sunburn, so we need to unveil it to reveal our baby. This called for a bigger celebration. You can actually invite your friends or throw a party to celebrate your success. Wow, look at that. It's absolutely gorgeous. Before we harvest it, let's check the other pineapples that were yet to flower. It seems they still haven't started flowering, so we need to force them to flower. You can use any of the methods I've shown in my previous videos, or follow this simple one. Fill a small bottle that has the top cut off with clean water. Drop a small piece of calcium carbide in it and let it fizzle until all the chemicals have reacted completely. Swirl it lightly and pour about 100 ml into the middle of the pineapple plants. That is all you need to do, but you have to wait for about a month to see the magic. Whilst waiting, let's go to harvest and enjoy our first fruit. Notice that our first fruit is even bigger than the fruit from which the crown was taken. However, the taste and sweetness will be the same. I'm going to enjoy this later. The other pineapple fruit, although mature, will be left to grow a little bit more and to ripen on the plant to develop the best flavor and sweetness. 1 month later, 2 things will happen. The first is that the second pineapple fruit will ripen beautifully and will be ready to be harvested. The second is that the other 2 plants that were forced by treating it with the solution will also start flowering, and they should be ready to harvest within the next 3 to 4 months. Therefore, within a total of about 24 months, you would have gone from a single pineapple crown to getting 4 or more beautiful pineapple fruits. Bear in mind that an important step to guarantee that you get to harvest your fruits early is forcing the plant to flower once they grow bigger but they haven't started flowering. If you just wait for them to flower naturally, you wait much longer. That's all for now. Thanks for watching. If you found this video useful, smash that like button and also share it so that more people will benefit from it. Don't forget to subscribe if you have not already done so. Check out our other videos. I'll see you in our next. Until then, it's adios.